Hey there, it's Enderverse. We're back with the fourth episode of the Vanilla Plus Mod series. This list is the heaviest thus far. There has been so many big releases brimming with content as well as small additions that make a huge difference. Now without any further ado, let's dive into the video. First we have Vercte's Satchels. When worn, these satchels will give you a 6-slot hotbar you can pull anytime through pressing V on your keyboard. This hotbar doesn't occupy your screen or halt your movement, it simply momentarily replaces the slots on your actual hotbar, making it ideal for keeping tools and food. In addition, the satchel is always visible on your personal inventory as well as a wide range of other user interfaces including chests, smithing tables, and furnaces. Modded GUIs are also supported, mainly from the Farmer's Delight mod. However, I found a big issue that being the inability to use it on crafting tables. I hope the author fixes this bug. This mod is as convenient and useful as it can be. I get that it's not for Fabric, but NeoForge 1.21.1 seem to be a new deal on the modding scene, so you won't really be lacking any mods should you aim for a modpack with that version. You know how in vanilla Minecraft we often skip right to iron? Leather is hard to get early on as cows can be scarce and chainmails are not craftable. And even if you find some, they are hardly worth the trouble. With CNS leather armors, you can reinforce leather with chainmail, producing an armor set stronger than iron but inferior to diamond, effectively filling the gap between the two. To get started here, you must craft the two upgrades using leather and iron. First, there is the chained upgrade. This one will allow you to work on powdered snow and is quite resistant to arrows. The second one is the studded upgrade. This one will increase the amount of time it takes for you to freeze as well as reducing the burning times. When wearing the full set, either armors can grant passive status effects. A full chained armor set gives you the dexterity effect. With it you can deflect arrows and backflip to evade attacks. Both abilities are passive and require a few seconds to reload. To hasten the reload, you can enchant your armors with soul speed and projectile protection. If maximally enchanted, you can expect as much as 2/3 of the cooldown reduced. A full studded armor, however, gives you the acclimatized effect, which makes you thermally invincible. You will never freeze again, and you can freely walk on fire, though lava and fireballs are still harmful. To override this limit, you can enchant your gear with the fire protection IV as well as Frostwalker 2. With either enchants in place, you can swim on lava, basically having fire protection potions passively and indefinitely. Hostile mobs can also be found wearing these armors, and based on the type, they can either be immune to fire or worse, evade your attacks and deflect your arrows. The author made these armors easily repairable through chains, iron nuggets, or the upgrades themselves. They also developed an add-on that allows you to craft chainmail armors. It can save you a lot of trouble, but if you are an adventurous lad, you can just ignore this one. This is a very underrated mod, but it's not for lack of quality as you can see. Give it a try, my friend. It can be a lot useful for survival beginnings. This mod adds more uses to the SulfurCube. Having absorbed a workstation, you'll be able to interact with the SulfurCube based on the block it absorbed, including crafting tables, stone cutters, grindstones, smithing tables, cartography tables, and anvils. You can also use the cube for redstone contraptions, as it can activate redstone if it absorbed a redstone block, and given its physics, I see so many uses for it. A SulfurCube will also emit dynamic light if it absorbs a light source, and it will also dry with spaces if it has a sponge inside it. Lastly, there is this mechanic where you can stuff the cube with TNT, hit it to a happy cast, and then release it by sharing the happy cast. This is the first mod on the list to improve upon the Sulfur update feature. This video isn't about the update, but wait a little. Once enough mods are available, I could make a modding video all about improving the Sulfur update. You might have noticed how the SulfurCubes were moving rather fluidly on the previous mod. That's the effect of a mod called Get the Ball Rolling. Using this mod, the cubes will have a dynamic rolling motion. It makes a huge difference and also quite a bit of sense, as instead of being dragged in a stationary position, the cube will now roll and have a momentum of its own. So many of these mods are content filled, overhauling so many parts of the game like the end dimension, the wall generation, game mechanics, and more. To enjoy a full Vanilla Plus mod pack with no interruption, I highly recommend you check out Pinehosting. The prices here start as low as $3, and you could even get a 30% discount on your first month using my code ENDER, something that also supports the development of our channel and keep the needle moving. Any modpack you have in mind, either in CurseForge or Motherrange, can be installed with one click. And you can also monitor your server, configure the settings, as well as adding and removing content very easily. The machine running your modpack will have high-end Ryzen processors, fast RAM units, and NVMe SSDs. I also recommend you enable automatic backups to avoid world corruptions and allow for stress-free experimentation. For technical issues, the support will be there to help you, be it service-related problems or even for bugs and crashes from the modpack itself. The locations cover most of the globe, and if you live in a non-supported continent, choosing a closer server, like for instance Germany's servers for South African countries, will be enough to get a good, stable ping. Doing gaming YouTube videos full-time was my dream growing up. Thanks to your support, guys, and to the support of Pinehosting, I was able to sustain myself and my family doing this full-time. So, you will be keeping me on the scene for longer and help me make better videos by using this service. You'd also get 30% off when you use my code ENDER, so thinking about it, it's a win-win. Up next we have No Man's Land. This is a huge world generation mod with lots of content on the side. The author has developed 24 new biomes, all featuring new types of trees, different new animals, which will be discussed later, as well as natural elements such as pebbles, icicles, and seashells. The structures here are mostly ruins, which fits the theme of the mod, as they appear wild, decayed, and coated with moss. There are also some awesome underground structures in the form of ancient cave temples, featuring pots, extremely well-made statues, and interactive blocks like this bell. Fauna was also revamped, from redesigned vanilla mobs to completely new creatures like geese, tortoises, deers, billhawkfish, and even humanoid imaginary creatures like Buddy. You can farm all of these mobs for one or more uses. Could be food or raw materials that will help you craft cool new items like tortoise shells you can wear. You could also craft useful and fun items, things like bombs, incendiary arrows, and wearables such as the bronze mask. As vanilla friendly as it may seem, this mod does have an adventurous fictional side, thus being the unique interactions you can have with the statues. Visiting the Alchemist's Ruins, which is a place you can track through an explorer's map sold by the wandering trader, you can stand in the holy water for the blessing of the stone. Then when it's nighttime, sleep facing it. You will wake up in oblivion. Walking on the darkness, something out in the distance will slowly appear. The Moon Friend. You're not ready to talk to him yet, but a first acquaintance is required. From there you should travel to the meeting point. Once arrived, a cutscene will unfold, and a Moon Friend will make himself apparent. He rejoices in meeting you at last, and instructs you to stand on the metal plate and look at him. I could not figure out what to do with the Moon Friend, as it is a new feature and hasn't yet been included in the wiki, so if the author is watching this, I'd appreciate a tutorial. It's a great mod otherwise. Critters and Companions is a mod that most of you know about. However, this port in particular made it runnable on the latest Sulfur update. My favorite critters here included the red pandas. These fluffy creatures can be tamed with sweet berries, upon which they will scare away most hostile mobs. Even the Endermen are scared of them. I also like the otters. You'll find them swimming vividly on lakes. If you give them clams, they will rip them open with a chance of extracting a pearl. This gemstone can be crafted into a pearl necklace, an item that will boost your swimming speed tremendously based on its level. Another mob that can be tamed and protected by are dragonflies. Through feeding them a spider eye, dragonflies will be your guardians. You can even give them an armor scaling all the way up to diamond. They don't deal a lot of damage, but they can redirect the mob's aggro, giving you a chance to strike. I always use this strategy with my summons on RPGs. And the final example I have here is a Dumbo Octopus. Those are benign oceanic creatures that will rush to save you if you are drowning. Having one or two around you will help you discover the ocean freely. This mod is the best for adding useful and assisting critters to your world. No wonder it has tens of millions of downloads, and now you can even introduce those cute animals to your 26.2 world. Ain't that wonderful? Room for Two is a funny mod allowing two players to sleep in the same bed. You can even sleep next to villagers too. This functionality can be very useful early game when beds are scarce, and it will also save you the trouble of destroying beds when a villager is occupying them. Just as I considered the Beyond mod to be the best end expansion mod, I would consider Caverns and Chasms to be the best cave expansion mod. To get started here, you will need to hit the mines and harvest the new ores within the mod. Tin is one of the most common materials here, and it opens the door to many new kinds of redstone contraptions, including dimmer lamps that glow brighter the stronger the signal, redstone resistors which control the strength of the signal, redstone refractors which randomize the output of the signal through 3 different outlets, the winch which can be twisted to control the signal and snaps right back when you release your mouse button, and so much more. Tin can also be used to create weapons such as the ricochet arrows which bounce off walls, and the Aegis shield which deflects arrows. 2 other common materials are silver, which can be used to craft new tools and weapons, but they're kinda worthless. The best use for it actually are the armors, which are as strong as iron, in addition to featuring increased resistance towards magic attacks. The other common material is copper. This is a material less powerful than iron, but the special about it is its horse armor, packing a whole 15 armor points, but at the cost of 20% less speed, making it the most protective armor to give to your horse. Copper can also be used to craft a toolbox, a functional block that can store 14 slots of tools and weapons. There are also gems and crystals. They will help you craft new types of glass and building blocks. But most importantly, there is a gem called Spinel. This gem is crucial for powering and crafting 3 new types of workbenches. The Bejeweled Anvil, which is a one-time use but doesn't require XP, the Atoning Table, a spinel-fueled enchanting table that expands durability instead of levels, and finally, the Dismantling Table, which will help you dismantle smithed gear at the cost of spinel. There are also advanced types of ores and alloys. First, there is Nucranium, almost as strong as Netherite and inflicts slowness on enemies, as well as Sanguine, an alloy made out of cast tears, silver, and rotten flesh, making it relatively hard to craft. It's as strong as diamond, but has a very cool feature called Life Steal, allowing you to regenerate health as you damage mobs. There's also a number of non-craftable tools and armors. The cowl is a hood you can put on which will partially camouflage your presence and allow you to walk past mobs unnoticed. The tool belt is a wearable you can find in temples and dungeons, wherein it will give you longer reach when using tools. It makes a good pair with the mentioned copper toolbox and can be enchanted with the extending book to slightly increase its reach. There are also over 8 new mobs to interact with, from new types of creepers that vary in explosive power and ability, to mimes, which are peculiar creatures capable of mimicking your gear and weapons, which guarantees great damage since it's your own weapons that are hitting you, to grazers that can spawn with a saddle and mounted for a fun ride. The only tameable creature here are the rats. By feeding them rotten flesh, they will be at your service, sit when you tell them to, go wherever you want them to go if you have the bone flute, and of course attack any mob that dares to attack you. I could go on and make this video 2 hours long, but where's the fun in that? Install the mod and be assured you'll enjoy hours upon hours of cave exploration. This mod will add solutions to trampling crops with your feet. From now on, wearing a feather falling boots will negate the trampling of crops. Leather boots will also prevent it from happening and will serve as an early game alternative to feather falling. Being in creative mode will also prevent it too. Using this mod, you will no longer have to restrict your movement on your wheat field. You can jump as you like and not worry about any crops getting trampled. Up next we have Alterna. This is a mod adding a bunch of random features, all with the purpose of enhancing or completely replacing certain aspects of vanilla Minecraft. The first thing I noticed here is the glider. This is a new tool that will serve as an early game flight solution. With it you can gracefully fly down mountains and other high surfaces. When gliding over a campfire, you will receive a brief boost upwards. The gliders aren't very durable, though you can easily repair them using phantom membranes, which gives actual use to those nuances. The author put high focus on the ocean update. First, he added completely new items like the conch shell, an instrument that can be found on treasure chests. This tool featured 3 variants, each one playing a different tone. When blessed with the conduit power effect, you can manipulate the weather through blowing the conch shell. Based on which shell you have, you can either stop or start rain showers and thunderstorms, and this can be plenty useful for fishing and farming. Tridents have also been entirely revamped. You will now obtain sunken tridents first. Those are inferior versions, featuring less damage and less durability, but they can be enchanted, though not repaired. Its true use, however, is to be put in a crafting table along with 8 prismarine shards, which will get you the real deal trident. The full tridents, aside from being more powerful, have passive loyalty enchantments. But rest assured, loyalty enchants only make the return a lot faster, so they're not obsolete. You can choose to change the textures of the tridents or keep the vanilla ones. I recommend you change it, this way it's consistent with the sunken trident. This mod only updated last month, so you can expect more Vanilla Plus features to be added soon. Each touch in a specific part of the game, could be the end, could be combat, who knows, for the author and modern to receive notifications whenever that happens. Armored Elytra is exactly what it says. You will now be able to merge your Elytra with your chestplate, providing full protection and the ability to fly. You can add the Elytra to any kind of chestplates. And for netherite equipment, you can add in mending and you'd be golden. If you want to remove the Elytra from the chestplate, just put it in a grindstone and it will be separated. Although a small feature, it makes all the difference, especially in vanilla survival playthroughs. Fabulous Furnished is a special new mod adding all sorts of interactive and decorative blocks to help beautify your buildings. Similar to Mr. Crayfish's Furniture Refurbished mod, a number of these blocks are electrically powered. You must have a generator in place, link it to outlets or switches, and then it will power that block, be it a lamp, a fan, or even a laptop. You could also use some of these decorative blocks to store your items. Cabinets will store large amounts of items, while shelves will visibly store tools and armors for you. There are also a number of decorative blocks that are adjustable. Books, for example, can be stacked up to 4 books in one block, and curtains can be opened and closed as well as adjusting to the size of the window. Furthermore, you can use trash bins to dispose of undesired items, as well as using couches and benches to sit and relax. This is an awesome new mod. It has some bug fixing to do, but it features a lot of special mechanics like being able to dye your furniture and power utilities. This is a simple mod which will make it so that bubbles pass through copper grates. This mod is very useful in that you no longer have to receive damage every time you use your water elevator. You can just put a copper grate on top of it and rid yourself of the free damage and durability loss. The Beyond is one of the most thorough and well-made end expansion mod. Let me show you why. First and foremost, this mod brims with special mechanics and interactions. There are the magnet items, which attract items nearby and hurl you towards metals if you right-click at them. Totems of Respite respawns you with a spirit carrying all of your items for you. You can then right-click the spirit to receive all of your items. Additionally, there is a full set of armor you can wear, featuring special properties like decreased aggro distance, a ground slam attack, as well as walking on the Aurora site layer, which we'll talk about later. Despite having only 2 biomes, the Beyond mod features an expansive fauna. The Netherite mobs are friendly little creatures who love building. If aggravated, they can render you dead for a few seconds. However, if you put a refugee block around them and give them Zymus blocks, they will slowly but surely construct a refuge beacon for you. When done, this beacon will resemble your skin and give you special effects in exchange for metals and gemstones. Disturbing the Netherite mobs also means disturbing their mother, the Ignatius Totem. This is a powerful semi-stationary mob. They shoot different kinds of projectiles. Some will pause on you, some will teleport you around, and others will just explode, dealing area damage. The Ignatius Totem are quite hard to kill. They don't have a cooldown, and they teleport when you get closer. The last mob I'll mention here is the Abyssal Nomad. This is a 4-legged creature that you can ride for an uncontrolled adventure, as the Abyssal Nomad can teleport around and go as far as the Aurora site layer. If fed a remembrance item found on the bridge spots, it will give you the Abyssal Blessing, which will allow you to temporarily walk on Aurora site. This is great because you can now walk to this desolate fountain. In it you must throw exactly 5 remembrance items, after which a special ritual will be triggered, where a bunch of Abyssal Nomads will spawn kneeling before you. You will then be granted the Abyssal Shroud, an item necessary to craft the Pathfinder boots, which will allow you to walk on Aurora site permanently. The wall generation here is also remarkable. While most other mods aim for organized and content-filled biomes, the Beyond mod kept the wall generation relatively the same old barren place we know. And there are only 2 prominent biomes here. The most dangerous of the 2 is the Attracta Expanse. This is a dark spiky forest. Be very careful before landing here, as the grass detects even the slightest movement on the surface and sends back a signal to the Angina Towers, after which a wave of slimy purple creatures will arrive. Their sheer number can quickly overwhelm you no matter your gear. The Pale Lands, on the other hand, is quite common. It features a lot of pleasant things like small houses of different heights, ominous looking trees called the Orbi Root, Elytra launch pads in the form of caster stations, as well as porcelain towers with bonfires and lost souls flying around. On the barren terrains, gilded void lakes can be found surrounded with void crystals. These natural elements are quite peculiar. When destroyed, they float indefinitely. When obstructed, however, they blast into a gas cloud, inflicting all surrounding entities with the unstable and weightless effects. This mod is quite adventurous. It also enhances the end visually too, as you'll be seeing new fog colors, a purple cloud on top of the end island, and different aesthetic end particles. In simpler terms, this is a near perfect spin at enhancing the end dimension, so don't miss it out. We're all familiar with Vein mods, but what makes this mod special is that it has that feature in addition to allowing you to mine in special patterns, like stairs going up or down, a straight line to make a channel, or 3x3 surfaces. This mod is quite useful for building as well as gathering materials. It's an all-in-one project combining vein mining, tree-harvesting, and full-scale excavation. Sully's mod is a project with two main objectives, fauna and materials surrounding a new ore called jade. You can mine and refine this new jade material and use it to create the jade shield and the jade horse armor. Both are very special in that they deflect arrows. I really love the deflection sound and visual effect, and it's a very useful feature too, especially on the horse armor, as it can preserve your horses for long. What's more is that all jade related blocks deflect arrows, and the flinger totem in particular can redirect them even, and through honey you can slow the redirection, making for some intuitive trap designs. There aren't so many mobs here, but the few present are quite useful in that they provide you with raw materials necessary to craft awesome new tools and weapons. You may also interact with some of them in special ways. The jungle spiders, for instance, can be used to extract poison, and the vial can be different spider to spider. I've enjoyed Sully's mod. How the mobs and features were designed and developed don't stray far away from the vanilla essence, and it's also super simple to grasp. Just mine the jade ore and interact with the animals naturally found on the world. As simple as. Shadow Redropped is a mod adding shadows to the items on the GUI. It's hard to believe such a small visual effect would make so much difference, and to top it off, this visual effect adapts to the resource packs, changing the item's textures as well as items from other mods. This is such a pleasant visual mod, but you have to keep in mind that for the mod to support items from other projects as well as retexture to the sprites, it had to render every item twice, or else it would be constrained to vanilla items. The downside, however, is that it takes a bite at your performance. Not a big one, but if you are already struggling with FPS, adding this mod would not be recommended. That aside, it's a marvelous feature to have in your game. No build limit is self-explanatory. It raised the build limit from 320 all the way to 2031, an insanely big jump, which will allow you to build unrestricted. However tall you want your tower to be, it will be. Just keep in mind that adding this mod to your world would be a permanent thing to do, because removing it would definitely corrupt your world. I would highly recommend you back up your world before doing that. Effortless crafting will make it so that all the content on nearby chests is used on the crafting table. This way you don't have to open the chest one by one and pull the ingredients. You have your whole warehouse at your fingertips. You can just craft as much of any item as you would like, which is a pretty cool and vanilla friendly feature. This feature is not passive though. You activate it by pressing Ctrl and scrolling your mouse to specify the amount. Very straightforward. But I wish the crafting process would not include chest opening in the future. It makes the whole process a little rigid in my opinion. More Cloud Layers is an awesome visual mod adding extra cloud layers to the skies in Minecraft. Multiple cloud layers make a huge difference to the game's visuals, and there has been a trend lately where developers are trying to enhance the vanilla visuals without the need for shader packs. Prime example of this are the Visual Effects Plus Texture Pack and the Atmospherics mod. Be as it may, you can still use shaders with it. Just make sure to disable the shaders clouds. Compatible options included, but not limited to, Complementary Reimagined as well as Astralex shader. Thanks for watching. 4 months ago we showcased the mod Overhauling Enchanting in the most vanilla friendly way, a mod adding new types of golems you can build, another expansion mod, and more. So be sure to check it out for 20 more Vanilla Plus mods. Also, if you decided on a Vanilla Plus mod pack, be sure to call in a few friends and make a server on Pinehosting. My code Ender can help you with 30% discount on your first month, and you'll also be supporting me and keeping me going. Thanks in advance, and I'll see ya in the next one, my friend.